All right, what's up, everybody? Um, Not too much to do today. I don't think I'm bullish on a macro. Not really sure about the structure today, so we'll try to take our time. Let me just make sure I'm all good on my end for YouTube. Okay, we're live. All right, cool. So obviously, real quick, we gotta plug the brand. Avanti. If you like the clean logo, simple design, you could read about the message or the culture on the About Us section of the page, avnti.co, US customers only. Check it out. We have cool hoodies, cool t-shirts, and some crops for girls. Obviously, everything else is unisex too. So, uh, uh, then last little plug. If you can't breathe like me out of one nose, this is great. Intake breathing. Check them out. Link in the description. 15% off. Let's get to screw it. We're gonna wear this because I haven't been able to, my breathing's been whack anyway. Okay, all right. So if you look at the 1 hour, so this is the type of stuff that I was looking at last night. Okay, I didn't think we were going to gap down, but we did. Um, so my next targets were these 1 hour gaps on both the indexes. You can see NQ actually ran through its 1 hour gap. ES didn't even go inside of it, so that's a form of SMT. Then we have YM in London also. London reversal basically was the framework for today, I believe. You have SMT between YM and the indexes here. Change in state delivery on the 1 hour. Now we're making a move out of those gaps. What I don't like about the long side, or that's like kind of scary, is that ES perfectly filled in its new day opening gap, and NQ like barely left the midpoint of its new day opening gap. So that's kind of looks weak to me. Then if you look at these lows, like they're not really, it's a failure swing, but there is SMT, but it's with YM and not between ES and NQ. So that has me semi-hesitant. Let's look at the lower time frames now. 1 minute. 1 minute's kind of messy, but this is a bit of an obvious run. Kind of wish I was a little bit earlier to the desk to take this long here up into this trend line, at least up into the gap. That would have been a nice long. Sorry, my cat's all over the place. So now we're fishing around midnight. Yesterday I had a bit of a rough day. Um, Took an L. Kind of took our win streak to an end, which is okay. That stuff happens, but wasn't particularly proud of how I performed. So yeah, I don't I'm not really sure. I am bullish. Like I'm bullish. I just these lows look a little suspect to me. I just don't like the structure. Bullish, but not a fan of the structure today. So uh, I do like the structure on the upside too, though. So yeah, that's how we're rocking and rolling today. Not much else to do. Let's run a little long short poll. Um, I forget how to do it. Here we go, engage. Also, again, if anybody comes in here and they shoot a chat, I'm never ignoring anybody. If I don't answer right away or if I don't answer at all, it's just because I don't see it. I don't have enough screens to keep everything up. I I check on the stream intermittently on my laptop, but I mostly use my laptop screen, which I'm looking at right now, to view my higher time frame, keep my higher time frame charts up on my indexes, and then on my desktop, I'm running the streaming software and obviously trading and executing through that. So yeah, fog advisory, cool. Looks like we're kind of getting stuck at midnight a little bit. I guess I might as well mark it out for YM too. Why not? I believe it's this candle. Yep. There you go. Hmm. Okay. Maybe we could try to get one up into the midpoint there. That could be a nice little trade there. Why will I never get this? I don't know if you watch, if you've been watching, you'll see that I have a difficult time all the time trying to get to the, correct fib placement to where OT lines up with the direction I'm looking for it to line up in. So yeah, sloppy open so far. YM gross around midnight. NQ building some order blocks might be worth trying to take a stab up into the 50% point. At 632, stuck at midnight. Kind of high resistance from here to here. Just not getting any sort of great risk to reward right at the moment. Do we enter into a 5-minute gap or something? No. How about 3? No. How about 2? No, not really. Okay. Still just watching at this point. What I also found interesting was that this sort of same stop just short of points was the same as ES within this 1 hour gap, and then NQ within the old new day opening gap. That's what my boxes are. So these are general fair value gaps in gray. Anything yellow is a new day opening gap. Anything green is a new week opening gap. So opening price on Sunday in green, gap between close and open on any other weekday in yellow. Check on the stream real quick. Cool. It's also just not a strong candle for the London reversal either. Like, if you want to see these down close candles as your order block, then I mean, this is a terrible candle to base off. Yes, it does technically close above the body by a little bit, but the wick is, not convincing. The only thing that's convincing about upside, besides obviously the structure of like all the uninduced highs here, 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 is the SMT between YM and ES and NQ. Other than that, I'm not a fan of it. I don't like how soft these lows look. Would have liked ES to at least enter into this gap and not use it as a breakaway. And NQ completely melted through it. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. All things considered, like if anything, NQ would respect this one, and ES wouldn't enter in. So fine, I can get on board with that. But everything about the up move is just fishy at this point. So obviously I abandoned the idea of taking a long up into the 50% line because ES was already into it. So and Q is getting stuck at midnight. So to me, there's no real reason that it should go higher. Like it doesn't have to because ES already accomplished it. So that's another form of divergence in SMT. So I'm not going to force that, you know. At this point, it may be a short trade that we're going to be taking, and we may just kind of hold out for ES to get into that hourly gap. I'm not convinced those lows are legitimate. We do have the SMT with YM, but YM is obviously very weak. It's not showing any gusto. And typically the weaker pair, quote unquote, when you're looking at SMT will really run away from its destination. Sure, in the grand scheme, if you look at targeting, it may not act the same as targeting for the stronger pair, but in terms of velocity, the weaker pair usually does have a lot more bang to it. So you're not seeing that out of YM, okay? Or at least you're not seeing the continuation out of YM. You did see everybody ran up, but you're not seeing the continuation. So. We also had we had core retail sales today at 8:30. Obviously non-event. Uh, at least in the charts, it was very non-event. Um, let's look at if there's any other news today. The retail sales was good though. So that's the other thing is where I'm kind of like reports are coming out good. I guess there's really a lot of fear with these trade wars or whatever. So 10 o'clock we have retail inventories, X auto. Not really worried about that. Crude oil, 10:30. Then we have some bond auctions, and we have Powell speaking today at 1:15. So that could be a stall on price until he speaks. I don't know what he's speaking for. Let's see if I could find that out. Okay, wow, okay. So he's speaking about economic outlook at the Economic Club of Chicago. Okay. So that's that. Economic outlook at Economic Club of Chicago at 1:15. So I don't know. Maybe the market pukes until then. I do kind of want to get short. 2-minute on ES kind of looks good. I'm just gonna have ESM. Who's speaking? A bank account. I am gonna have ES kind of queued up and ready to go. I'm kind of liking the 2-minute chart here. What I don't like are these highs up here, how equal they are, but we are up around that new week opening gap, so I'll excuse it for now. I may just take the short on NQ. Maybe it wants to run up that gap, I'm not sure. I'm gonna take a couple there. Well, more than a couple, I guess, right? It's a few. 3 is a few. I'm looking for ES to come down, move into this gap. Looking for NQ to give up this hourly gap. Nice. Solid move there. Let's throw a stop in at break even. Would love for this to be breakaway. Sweet. I really want to hold this one into the bottom here. Let's just see it disrespect this. I mean, we might get a little reaction, but I just kind of want to see it peel right through it. Oh, NQ giving me false vibes on that candle. So see how we're printing all the way down here, but that's not really the case. So I'd like Topstep to fix that. I'll have to send that again. I've been doing nothing but sending them things. I'm gonna trim one there, lock in a couple bucks. Again, waiting for ES. Locking in one more. Really stalling. I'm gonna take that off there as we hesitate. So that's a nice little trade. May try to get short again if it gives me a nice little value entry. But also kind of wanted to get out before 10 o'clock just to see. Excuse me. Could be a new invalidation here. This high, maybe. It is a little far away from my liking at this point. I'll try one. $33. Okay, I'll live with that. Need NQ to catch up with ES here on the small time frames. Again, I'm convinced that ES does make it into this hourly gap, so try not to sweat it too much, but rather not get stopped down if I don't have to. It's playing catch up now. It may wait for 10 o'clock. Just wanted to make sure it didn't get, just barely touched out if it made equals, but we're going to get stopped here. And if we don't, wow, crazy. Yeah, we might get the 10 o'clock reversal down. Ooh. Okay. I'm okay with trying that. That was fine. So just measuring out the midpoint of this block. Candle data is being a little weird, so just a little SMT there. I'll try one. So we have SMT between these highs, and Q just swept it. There's hair everywhere, dude. And I'm trading smaller now because I've already locked in a nice profit for the day, so just looking for gravy. $10 o'clock opens coming. I'm hoping it's going to just take me into target. I'm going to move my stop down in case we get like a real puke. Let's just put this here, just in case we also get a God candle in the opposite direction. If that's the case, I'm donezo, and we'll just call it a day. I don't believe there's no news. Well, there's a little bit of news, but I don't think it should be of importance. Here's the 4 hour. Yes, does appear to be slowing down. There goes 10 o'clock open. We're moving towards target. Let's move our stop to even. Come on, do it. You gotta be kidding me. I'm gonna take it off there. No point in holding through that slop. was hoping just for an immediate kind of rush down. I just, I don't want to risk any retracement back to entry, get stopped at even, then have to re-put on the risk. I'd rather take the money off now. And if it does want to go back up into here, then I'll look for, a re-entry. But I'd like to see 50% somewhere. Again, you have candle data that's just not loading. So that's a bit annoying. Not quite getting to the 50% retracement mark, which is okay because that also signals weakness, but for my case, I'm going to kind of let that one go. Just because, for risk, risk management purpose. I could risk the high after we close below here, but I don't really want to fade it. I don't want to fade the opportunity of it to get to 50%. Or I'm not willing to risk that, because then I'll just have to re-enter again if it doesn't work out. So what we would be looking at is something like this, and then a risk of up here, but as you can see, not quite worth the risk for like location. So essentially we got right back to where we were. I think we were at like 286 to start. We burned a couple bucks trying to get short a little bit earlier, getting stopped out, and then kind of got it back. Yesterday we took a $450 loss, which sucked, but was what it was. Tilted a little bit. Got all these cat hairs all over me. So yes, into the 50% mark of that leg. I would like to set like a trailing stop through Topstep. I don't really know how to do that. To where I could lock in a $200 day and give myself a couple bucks to play with to try to get a little bit better if I want to take this short. But like, completely lock me out if that doesn't go right. Let's see, trading, or no, let's go settings. Trailing, so where are we? Personal daily loss limit. I guess if I do $86.80. Oh, not 860. 86.80. Well, I guess it's not going to ever let me do that. So if I just do 86. Trailing percent is the trails the highest balance after reached after enablement, allowing for a dynamic drawdown from the most recent peak. So I guess the highest balance would be, right? That would be it. Let's just see trailing previous day realized. Let's experiment here. I don't know. So NQ just barely swept this low here, and now we're kind of taking off, so a little tricky. Sorry, I'm just blowing the stuff off the keyboard. Just looking at the 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart on TradingView right now. My cat has shed enormously. My God. Could literally make a fur coat with this dude's fur. Ridiculous. All right. Yeah, nothing right now. I'm not shorting this move yet. Maybe if at all, because it's a strong push up, and you do have SMT on those lows after the 10 o'clock open. I'll give you a look at what I'm checking out here. I'm looking at the 5-minute. Well, that's the 3-minute. But I'm looking at the 5. Looking at the 15. So you'll see that price is not printing correctly. If you look at the 5, it's clear that we have a wick up here. You go to the 3-minute, it's not showing the wick. 2-minute, it's there and then it disappears. 1-minute there, then it disappears. Which is difficult because I do place a lot of emphasis on my trading on like where price has gone fully, not just the bodies. So these wicks matter to me. And it's hard to evaluate time frames, when that's not working. So I guess let's write down something. Let's just write the mark here so that way I could send it into Topstep. Let me just look at how long I've been streaming. 33 minutes. Okay, wrote that down for Topstep. Change in state here, comes down, taps it. I don't know. I mean, the longs it's a not obvious. It seems like it's a short trade, which I would still kind of agree with. I would agree that, like, I think this is phony baloney at these lows, but the long seems like the harder trade to make right now. So it almost feels like, and there is the SMT, so it's kind of hidden. So it's making me feel like that's the move, but we'll have to wait and find out, I guess. Although I do like this action out of NQ, reclaiming that hourly block, although these equals are not very enticing. Let's see if they even exist. They sort of do, yeah. It's battling with this hourly gap, but clearly it was not much significance since we ran through, ran through, so not really. Don't really care too much about it. Here's the original move. I'll put out the EQ just to see what's going on. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour, bunch of hoopla. I'm gonna go to the 5-minute. Let's mark out this gap. We do have these like semi-equals and we never got up to here, so maybe we do run up into that. See if it wants to come out and take these little equals. So I really do like upside structure for targeting. My main conundrum at the moment is, are we going to go lower though? Like I don't mind getting on sides with the up move. Again, macro, like longer time frame perspective, I am bullish. But short term, I'm not really sure if we have to take it into these areas, or it seems like it. So yes, weaker pair here. Have some SMT, but NQ not reaching into that 5-minute gap, which is stupid. Oh. They never make it easy, or they rarely make it easy, and when it's too easy, you think it's too easy, and it's not the right trade. So that was kind of this one up here, but we got on sides with that one anyway. If you just look at the 2-minute, kind of had sold me. I like how we pumped into the gap. Nope, not even a body close like above the open. We did get stuck. There was some moderate divergence between the EQ points of the swing leg, the midpoint, of this leg. Boom, boom. Yes, I dug into it. NQ didn't. I already told you my thoughts about the lows, so I had plenty of bias to want to get short there. So he is approaching EQ here. Oh, shoot. That's my bad. Just fat fingered a YM trade instead of NQ, lost 40 bucks. Actually, I feel like I know better than to be in this trade right now. So for that reason, I'll just move the stop to break even, and if I get lucky, I get lucky. Why I'm saying I know better is because how we just left this area completely untapped, and how ES is at the EQ of this previous leg. It may find support here. NQ may not go into the EQ of the leg, so it may want to run back up. Right now, the only thing saving me is the SMT on the upside. So, wow. All right, come on, go down now. Leave my stop alone. Let me get a freebie. I like how ES is using that as resistance now, but I'm going to be stopped out. It does kind of change the idea of everything. I was going to move my stop up, but I figured, I've already committed to not being involved. Let's look at the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute candle just opened. No, I know better. In fact, let's try it. I'm gonna fade it. Nope. Wrong. Wrong Zoe. Let's get in touch with the move. All right, so I actually should have been stopped out. So the trailing part, I don't understand where that comes from. Not great there. I want to create a breakaway gap right here. Not to the upside, to the downside. Added one. Adding one more for a breakdown. I got out. I'll re-enter if it wants to puke it. It's in a bad spot. So clearly that trailing thing didn't work. So that sucks. We're just gonna do 100 liquidate and block. So we'll take $100 loss if need be. All right, I'm counting on a breakaway gap to form somewhere around here. That sort of works too, but I'm just really hesitating around this area. Just wanted to finish the job. Yeah, that sucks. Waiting. Put it back there. If we invert, I may try it short again. If not, I kind of have to be careful. We do have SMT on these highs. It looks like it wants to run away. Yeah, there's the spike up. See if we get into the 5-minute gap. Come on. Let me know where I'm at. enough with this funny business. I have to look at my trading view charts now. Data feed's whack. The feeling here is that we're not finished with the 5-minute gap and that, this was kind of a hoax and that we may not go into here. So just trying to get on sides with the move. What's up, buddy? This is that hourly gap. Taking one off. Yeah, I think we're going into it. We may actually even go all the way up here. I'm going to pop another one off there, put my stop at even, in case I'm, correct about my downside bias, but we'll just let it float for now. Pretty frustrated actually with that, the trailing thing not really working. I mean, it's on me. I really should have just closed out of the trade after I realized it wasn't working, but, being stubborn that it, that it wasn't working and that I'd given up some profits already, so that's when I, obviously I put in the other limit. So now we're floating 100. It's still respecting the SMT. I just wonder if we're going to blast through. And again, that is on me towards this midpoint. I do sort of know better to be fooling around over here. At least with size like I was, that was kind of dumb. I know better than that. So we're just kind of letting this one run. Obviously I want to give it a shot to move. I don't know what it's going to do with this 5-minute fair value gap once it gets into it, but that'll definitely be an interesting spot. If it wants to whipsaw, it will. Right back into so we took a 15-minute high into a 15-minute order block. We're now running through that 5-minute gap, which is appreciated and does sort of make sense, considering we had the drives, the 3 drives, and we've disrespected the SMT to the upside. I'm now going to abide by the stop originally. That gave us the $200. So we're just clearing through that gap. I'll explain why I flipped bias in a minute. We're moving. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm going to lock out here for the day. I don't want to do anything stupid anymore. I also just was kind of over it. Like, yes, this may be a target. Um, Upside may be, we may roar to the upside. So, all right, let's get back to reframing here. So, good exit. We came into the morning. Um, Obviously, I said that these were suspect lows. Um, it's been a weird, rangy market. Or let me first rephrase this. Okay. Let's go all the way back. Let's actually get out of the Topstep charts. Let's go to the trading view charts real quick. Let's hide the indicators. It has been an incredibly rangy market. Okay, and now that makes sense because let's go back to how we were viewing this monthly candle. Okay. I believe that we were already higher than I figured we should be to close out the month of April. Um, my whole thing was I didn't see us really moving as high as we or as quick as we would. Like, so obviously the 90-day tariff pause had something to do with it. Obviously news is out of your control. You're not going to really play around with the technicals at that point. Like things are going to, what we were glad to be right about were the EQ spots and where price was going to reverse. Good enough. But what I was really thinking was, let's hide all. I don't know if this monthly candle closes looking like this one. And I've said this on my streams before. If I were, if I had to really bet, I would think that we closed in the bottom fourth. So if we were to measure quarters of this whole candle, I would think that we closed below half of the range at least, and more likely into like, I would have liked to seen something over here because we made that move so quick at the opening of April that like, I was like, why would we, hammer's tough. Like, I don't think it's going to be a hammer. And if it's going to close at least in the bottom half to bottom quarter, well, what does that mean? That means that we have to chop in this range. Okay. Assuming nothing really changes, assuming narrative doesn't change, right? That this is a bottom, we probably chop in this range until the end of the month, right? And if anything, when a new month started, maybe we come down, take the low, and then reverse. Okay, put in the second swing or the second candle low to make a swing low. So low, lower low, higher low, rip up, and back to business as usual for the indexes, which is up and to the right forever. Ding ding. So yeah. So now, looking at the daily chart, this is kind of the action that we would expect, right? No follow through. I mean, these are huge ranges though. I mean, there's still like big opportunity to making these small daily candles. What is that? 502 to 840. That's plenty of range to, take scalps off of. Yuck. But so anyway, so that's the kind of action that we're, it's not ideal, but we're kind of expecting. So going back here, it's probably wrong of me to assume that we're going to be directional in any way, shape, or form, on larger drawn out moves, just for those reasons alone. Okay. So can we come up and take these highs? Yes. Obviously I'm still going to gun for those highs. Like I'm still convinced. But, when this type of stuff, like, so this signature, yeah, we had the YM, and that's probably why it's as messy as it is right now. is because we had the SMT with YM. But when you see the indexes acting like this with the technical, also look at these tweezer highs on the 15-minute. I'm going to mark these out for another day if they don't get taken today, which they may. But whatever. So you knew how I felt about the lows and how it was interesting that we stopped just before these points of interest. Okay. So looking up, we have NQ not going into 50% of the original up leg, right? The impulse leg, not being able to reach back up to ES is getting shoved there. NQ is rejecting midnight in that area. Okay, we immediately start to come down. These are sort of equal, but I can't tell on the NQ, like on the mini chart, like this high is slightly above that, so I don't really, typically I don't like to trade away from these types of highs. But if you look at the 1 minute and how it went into the fair value gap, if you look at the 2 minute, how it left that, to me, that's worth a stab short. Also given the narrative that, like, we do have reason to believe that we're going to go lower. And if you look on the 15-second, look at this. Nice move up, out. Fades the change in state. We can get short here. Pretty sure that's where we got short. I don't really know. Yeah. 859 or 595. So we were a little bit lower than I'd like. So we were short in here into this gap after it was clear that we were disrespecting the change in state. Peeped right up into here, come down. This was my only fear, was that like maybe we'd come up and take these highs. So here and here, because nobody did. But that was obviously, that's going to happen now, I guess. That'll probably come from here to here. This is disgusting. Ignore that. So this was a good short, and realistically, like every single time whenever we're up like that, probably should have just ended the day. But figured I'd give myself some room. This was another great short. So then, obviously, we hadn't gotten to the area. Sorry, I need to take off these executions. They're so distracting. And it's like just clutters the chart. So then the next short was we hadn't hit our objective yet. 10 o'clock open was coming. We were anticipating 10 o'clock to continue us into our direction, which was lower. We have the SMT and the swings as NQ went into the hourly gap. ES you can see. And if you look, this was a pretty aggressive print down. How the candle print does kind of matter to me, especially when it's with this sort of narrative. So we had the aggressive bids getting slapped, which just means somebody's selling into them. That was my signal to get short again, so we got short another. Thankfully, we didn't hold for the target because it never got there. Once we started to hesitate before, and I saw this crazy wick at 10, I was like, you know what, screw it, it's close enough. So that was the other bias for the next trade, and then went back up, had the SMT here. Wasn't a fan of how it how it didn't push into the 5-minute gap. That was definitely suspect, and that's kind of why I waited. I unfortunately got stopped out here. It probably would have been an okay trade had it gone over here. Probably could have closed out around here for some profits, but just got stopped and kind of knew better to like not really mess around here after ES was around this area. And again, I did say I changed my mind once ES printed below 50% and NQ hadn't touched it yet. But this is where I got stopped out, like pretty much to the tick. And again, watch, because this is now going to run up into these highs. Probably come take these highs too, but that's fine. Where was I? Oh, right. So once ES gave up the midpoint, so originally the fear was ES is at the midpoint. We have SMT. SMT doesn't always mean full reversal. SMT just means it's the same thing as like a change in state of delivery. Now, the change in state of delivery can occur for two reasons in my mind. Okay, where it's either retracement or reversal. Okay, so this was clearly, like in my mind, I'm like, well, this may be using the context of everything, you know, all the other technicals, how ES is moving, where ES is, and whatever, I'm thinking this may be SMT for the sake of retracement, and that we may just be going higher. Again, because I didn't like how we just left the 5 minute shy. That didn't make a lot of sense. So this is a faux 3 drives pattern to suck in shorts. Okay. So that's why I said, oh, I know better to be involved in this, because the narrative is sketchy. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially while, you know, we're over here. So now once ES flipped this, now I have a little bit more confidence that, well, if ES, and ES again was like the more clear draw into the gap. Like I like ES to go into this gap more than I like NQ going into the new day opening gap. This one's a little bit more hidden. This one's a little bit more obvious. Okay. So when ES flipped that, I'm thinking, okay, I'm a little bit more comfortable that if NQ's dabbling around here and ES is using this as resistance, it's going to puke and it'll pull NQ down lower. So once we got this move, I was thinking like, okay, I could reshort because that's this candle here. Then it just didn't feel right. Like, you know, we weren't puking the low. I said that I wanted to see us create a breakaway gap because that's typically what will happen if we're going to disrespect an equilibrium. You'll create a breakaway gap somewhere close to the midpoint. Like it may just shoot down, and if there's a fair value gap here or just above here, odds are it's not going to get re-entered. And if it does get re-entered, it'll be an IOFED. Okay, look how it's playing around. That's gross. So yeah. And but for the record, I'm still not sold on these lows being the lows. Like I still do think like it's a 50-50 day. That's why I locked out. Because I could see myself just flipping, and you know being sick about it. So that's why I locked out. Where am I? I just keep sidetracking. Anyway, so we flip. We're not getting those breakaway gaps. Now I'm starting to be like, oh, you're right. You know, it is sketchy. This is kind of a fake move. Like, what's it worth? And just understanding that I'm in a bad spot, right or wrong. I'm understanding that I am in a terrible spot to be entered in here. This, had I held my original position, much better place to be if we're dancing around here. Because if it wants to dip, dive, whatever, dip, dive, dodge. I swear, you people are gonna think I'm a psycho. I just recognize I'm positioned in a poor space. Okay, like holding here and and we're messing around here and I'm overthinking this area is a hell of a lot different than having and with size. That was stupid. You know, that's the one I'll correct myself there as well. It's like probably shouldn't have been involved around this area. The fact that I was and with size was stupid. Around here, I was kind of like, all right, let's, that's when I put on 5 because I was thinking if we're going to really puke it, let's puke it. And I should get a pretty rapid movement here. And ES, again, was not playing anywhere near midpoint. So I'm looking at these things and I'm kind of weighing my odds. But again, not smart. I know better. If you're positioned here, basically what you risk is a pop in either direction because we're playing in a spot where it makes sense for us to travel higher. Okay, and it also makes sense for us to run away from this low because again, you see NQ did take this low. That while it is BS in my opinion, it's short-lived, I think. It's plenty of reason to, like it's obviously enough reason to move higher. I mean, look how we acted here on the 1 or on the 2 minutes, very clean. On the 1 minute, pretty much the same. Uses this inversion right below 50% of this leg. Boom, crushes. So what you risk, and what I started to fear, and I was positioned fat, like, I was like, oh, this is not going to go my way, and if it doesn't go my way, I'm positioned horribly, and my risk reward is like terrible. Like, where am I going to stop out above this high? It's dumb. If it's going to shoot up, which it did, I just, so that was the executive decision of, let me get out. There's obviously SMT, and also what I was watching was this gap. You'll see at some point I moved my cursor here to see, like, did we enter into here? And as you can see, we did. And that's when I got really sketched out when we made this big candle up. So you can see we make this, we enter into this gap. So that was already like a no-no of like, on how we reacted. The fact that we hammered into it and then out of it, that was ultimate. Like, oh my God, I'm right about this being a bullshit three drives pattern, and it's probably going to go higher. So that's why I just get long. I look at the reaction out of this gap, realize I'm once again off sides if I'm short here. And that's why I say if it inverts, I'll take it again because we've just taken some sloppy equal highs. ES was still getting stuck at the midpoint, so, and ES took out some equal highs. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying not to give up completely on the bias, but once we respect this, that's it. I have plenty of narrative of the SMT here, run up, we're messing around with 50%, but in the grand scheme, if you look, and that's why I was flipping time frames, the 1 minute's pretty clean, the 2 minute even cleaner. But most importantly, 15-second moves into this gap, runs up, creates a new gap. We're respecting it. Time to get long. So we get long, start to trim. Again, like first target was up here. We trimmed a couple as it hesitated because maybe it's just one of those gross days. Like, nothing's for sure. Get this stuff away, man. Sorry, I just need to. ADD is like firing today. Not that I'm like really diagnosed. You could tell I'm a whack. Not that people with ADD are whacks. You get it, dude. You get it. Yes. So that's how we got long, and then I just kind of had to stick to the narrative of, you're wrong on the downside, and it's just going to tease the downside just enough to where, those lows didn't make sense, but now they kind of do. And here it goes. It's going for those highs. Zoink. Gonna take them right now. So yeah, that's the market in a nutshell. Whole bunch of craziness, whole lot of second guessing, but sort of makes sense. Like I don't know. I don't see anybody else explaining the thought process. For free it is. I don't know. I don't belong to any groups. But I don't see anyone else, going through this type of narrative. And that's, to be honest with you, that's the only thing that matters. Like technicals matter, but guess what? Your technicals will fail you more than you'd like. And they do help. They'll help you with, what do you call it? They'll help you when your narrative is 50-50. Like sometimes, like earlier in the week, like I also just accepted, like when the technicals are that clean, okay, sometimes you just kind of have to accept them for what they are, especially with what I do. Like I'm not holding for hours, I'm holding for seconds or minutes. So if the technicals are going to work for seconds or minutes, it's worth me paying attention to. But the reality of being on side consistently and your directional bias being, consistently correct is all narrative, and understanding structure. That's really, I think, what it's come down to for me is understanding that this is weak structure. This is weak structure, okay? This down here was weak structure. And when you have, and again, we also had, I forgot to mention, we were also looking at YM. Okay, so YM was also a key in seeing that the weakness. You can go back and watch it, but it's also a key factor in getting short here because YM was weak, getting stubbed over here. So, whatever. Anyway, long story short, you have to know, you have to be aware of the structure. Okay, it's structure in pair with narrative, and that is what will keep you on sides in the market. That's my soapbox. So here, structure got us short, narrative got us long with structure again, and then we targeted the weak structure. So obviously the gap, when we do this sort of thing and we kind of just come up into, like I mentioned this yesterday, when we leave just short of a gap that really should have been entered, odds are we don't respect it when we go to play with it later. Okay, so that's exactly what you see here. It actually gave it a little bit more mind. Like we obviously melted right through, and then it played with it a little bit, and then obviously pushed higher. But that's how I view those types of gaps. And then you can see this was weak structure. So if we take this high, obviously we're going for this one. Now we'll see if we want to move into here, because this is weak as well. But, you know, could be legit. Because on the mini contract, if we move back, you'll see that it does just barely take that high into the gap. So that's that. I'm pretty much done for the day. I'll hang around. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the live. There's somebody in here. I don't know who it is, but what's up? Thanks for coming in. I'm sorry, we're almost done. But come back. Well, not tomorrow because I won't be here tomorrow. I'm happy to stick around if you want to chat or whatever. I don't really have too much rest day from the gym. But yeah. And they're gone. That'll make a good short. One viewer starts talking to said one viewer leaves. Hey, I get it, man. It's tough. Okay. All right. Decent day. We recovered about half, a little more than half of yesterday's blunder. So that's cool. Could have been a little bit more. I think we 286 or something at the high. That's going to be it. Maybe I'll stream some poker or something. Whoa, we got 3 people now? Am I going to leave now? I mean, what's up? Well, I guess I'm one of them, so there's really only 2 people. Yo, what's up? How are you guys doing? Write in the chat if you'd like. I was just laughing about how, oh, one's gone. This is hysterical. I was just saying how there was one other person in here, and I said, hey, you know, if you want to ask any questions or whatever, if you want to talk about anything, write it in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer questions. And the person instantly left. So, yeah, I'll hang out as long as you guys want to hang out. It's usually just me talking to myself, and they're gone. All right, I'm done. I can't. Okay, good talk. See you later. Hope everyone has a great rest of the trading week. I will not be live tomorrow. Oh, is this your first? Oh, chat isn't working. I don't know why it wasn't working, Callum. What's up, man? This is not my first stream. I've been live before. This is actually day 14 of being live. I don't know. Maybe YouTube's being whack. All good, man. How are you? Look at this. I got a viewer. This is cool, man. But yeah, I've been live for about 14 days. How's it going? Pretty good. It's definitely, so I'm not like a streamer per se. I just figured why not stream the like a challenge? And here we are. We're doing pretty good. Well, trading wise, we're doing pretty good. We had a red day yesterday, but that was the first red day in a while. So if you want to look over here, here's our performance report. So yesterday we had a rough day. A bit tilty. It was also a really tough day trading yesterday. And yes, I'm just trading in Q. I do sort of, like, I mainly trade in Q, that is. I will sometimes trade ES if it's clean. Like today I kind of wanted to, but for some reason I've just kind of just like chickened out and was like, and not chickened out. Like we all know NQ is obviously the far scarier asset to trade. I prefer NQ. I prefer how it moves. I don't really like ES for the sake of the structure that it puts in. Like ES makes a lot of equal highs on those micro time frames, and I use those as signatures. So like this, for example, ES does this type of thing all the time. NQ doesn't. And when NQ does, I typically look to target things like that. Like if I'm in a short here and I see this kind of action moving down, I'm probably going to be quicker to take profits because I believe that this is going to be taken or it's going to be corrected on a smaller time frame. Sorry to yap your ear off. But yeah, man, it's going well. How are you? I'm assuming you trade as well, right? I just taught myself, man. A lot of, well, like YouTube, obviously. I trade ICT concepts, so I watched a lot of lectures. Um, a lot of lectures. There's a lot of like really good people in the space too. Like, well, now they all have like private courses and stuff, but they still give out plenty for free, like AM Trades. If you go to his Twitter, AM Trade here, I'll show it on the thing. Hmm. This dude's legit. I mean, he doesn't trade the way I do. He actually trades a lot different. I use some of his stuff in terms of my bias, but here he is. I'm gonna see if that shows up. It's just a little. Uh, I don't know if you could see that. Oh, Arho. Yeah, I've never yes, I follow. Perfect. Yeah. So AM, yeah, AM's really good. I don't really follow. Is that how you say his name, Arho or Arja? I don't know. I'm assuming the J is an H sound, but yeah, they're all good, man. They all like know what they're doing. It's just about finding a style that you like. I don't think for the size that I trade right now, and just the way I like to trade, AM style's not frequent enough for me. But you could essentially take what AM preaches on like his high, like it's all fractal. Yeah. I took a few too many actually. I'm locked out for the day. I'm gonna call it here. I took some trades. So I took a short. I took this short here. So looking for the down move into these lows. Like I thought that these were kind of BS lows. So I took a couple shorts there. So first short was in these wicks. This was on a 15-second time frame. You'll see we actually had a gap. So swept these highs, made some wicks, took that short down to here, got out. Retook the second short after we had SMT between NQ and ES from here to here. Okay, I got short like right in this area after this. This was kind of going to be like my order block. Closed it out over here, and I was pretty much should have been done for the day. Waited, uh, got short again here. I just kind of went through this whole diatribe of why it was stupid. If you want to watch that, I won't talk your ear off. You can just rewind the stream. But kind of got chopped up over here, then ended up taking the long to recover up into this 5 minute gap. But what sucks is I actually really should have been stopped like around here anyway. I was up 286 over here or something. I tried to set like the trailing stop on Topstep to like give myself like $86 to play with, so I would end the day up 200. I must have not done it right or I misunderstood how it worked, so um, I ended up like pretty much going back to even just out of like stubbornness, like because I was like, oh great, now I'm at like 170. Stupid, like dumb mental stuff. Obviously, I should be better. I should be setting a better example, but that was it. How about you, man? Did you take any? I I've been trying to stream every day. I just don't stream. Oh, we got some homies in the chat. What's up, Dragonov? Uh, I'm assuming after the sniper rifle. Pretty cool. But I stream pretty much every day except for Thursdays. Thursdays I do not stream, but every other day I stream. And I just started. Today's day 14, and I'm trying to pass the combine live. Chilling, man, chilling. Thank you guys for coming in and chatting a little bit. It's definitely a lot more. So it's nice to have some. What ICT model do you use? Hmm. So I don't have a model per se. I don't have like a full model. Well, I don't stick to one model, I guess, and I know everybody. Yes, NQ short entry. What time was that, Cal? Let me check that out. Short 18643. So you were somewhere up here. Wow, 643. So would you get short right around 9:30, I guess? Would you use like a breaker or something? Well, not really. I guess on NQ, like the E-mini, that was sort of a breaker. 8643, 1875, 572, 75572. Yeah, hell of a trade, man. Great trade. That's a monster. 643. 9:45 New York. Where are you from, Cal? 643. Sorry, Dragonov. I'm like having a hard time multitasking, and I don't know why I'm so hell bent. 572. I was sick, like 68 points, man. That's killer. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry, my buddy Tim's. Oh, UK. Sweet. Yo, Beans. 1 second. Or what's up, bro? Hold on. Actually, 1 minute. Let me answer this. I'm on stream right now. Oh, mentorship. Dragonov. I use. I think I started with 2020 or 2022, maybe. No, I think it was a 2020 mentorship. I don't really know um, where it was. I'm glad I spawned on your homepage, by the way. It's about time YouTube started repping my stuff. I've been live every day. Like I feel like sometimes they'll reward consistency, so I'm glad that. Um, UK, that's cool, man. So, and then Dragonaut. Sorry, I'm bouncing away. I got my buddy on the phone. Um, what was I say? Yeah, I started with like 2022 mentorship. I really, man, I just try to read price and trade it that way. I'm very narrative based, so I do a lot of I do a whole lot of what do you call it? Just like I use all the concepts for the most part. Mainly I'm using order blocks, fair value gaps, but narrative is mainly the whole thing. Dragonov, I do not have a Discord. I don't really charge anybody anything for this at the moment. So yeah, I mean, if you're more than welcome to come into the streams, man, that's the closest I think you'll get to a Discord. I could always create one, I guess. Maybe I will make one and I'll like rep it just to let people in and they can chat or whatever. That would be cool. 1 second, guys. Let me. I got my buddy on the phone. Yo, Beans. Sorry, dude. Dude, it's the first time. It's the first time I have some people in my like chat to stream. It's insane. I'm usually talking to myself all the time. So yeah, yeah, it's good. I got a couple people. They're actually engaging with me. I've been live for 82 minutes. I mean, I'm done. I'm done. I've been done. People popped in and I was like, oh wow, people. So I stayed around. Today's my rest day from the gym, so I'm not working out. Is that what you're calling about? I figured. Yeah, not to come. Damn. Yo, Callum, thank you so much, man. Um, yeah, if you want to come by, and I appreciate the conversation, dude. Hope you have a good time. UK, so oh, it's like UK lunch. True. All right, boys, take care. Oh, same. I am short gold. I'd like to join the same. All right, gents. Thanks for coming in. I guess I'll make a Discord and we'll see what happens. Dragonov, if you want to come by. Oh, Beans, you're in here now? I can hear myself. So yeah, so that's it, man. Later, guys. Thanks again. Take care. I'll be live Friday. So yeah, so that was it. So yeah, I streamed this morning and now I'm done. I kind of want my no, I'm in my hoodie. All right, well, you know, just waiting for. There's like 4 people in here. I don't know if YouTube's lagging. Well, there's actually it's just you guys, and I guess the other dudes have left or rejoining whatever. People, I'm finally getting recommended on people's For You page, or not For You, the homepage. So that's tight. All right, let's. I'm gonna end it. I kind of want to stream poker, man. All right, later, gents. Thanks for watching, everybody. Well, there's 5 people in here now. You know, there's the more people join, man. It's hard for me to leave. Like, I got people. I'm gonna blow up and act like I don't know nobody. Yeah. All right, guys. Tune in Friday because I won't be streaming tomorrow. See ya.